Hello and welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, it's that time of the year, and so we are having that kind of a discussion yet again. We have it every year about the capital's air pollution quality. It's not just the capital, actually, it's all over India, in pockets where there is a heavy congestion, where there are metros, where there is industry, states which are neighboring to farms, where there is crop burning. The air pollution gets bad every winter. The AQI should be 100, but it's an ideal one. But it's reaching levels above 470, nearly 500 or even more. What are we doing to tackle this problem? Because we have this conversation every year. Everybody knows what the problem is. Everybody even knows what the solutions are. But the politicians are too scared to take that harsh step. What is holding them back? Why does the court have to step in every time? Is the court also pointing the people in the right direction? We have a panel of activists and environmentalists who've been watching this, and every year we have the same discussion, yet nothing really happens. So I'm going to have that discussion yet again. I hope that this time at least someone out there is listening to us. Joining me on the panel is Bhavreen Kandari. She's an environmentalist and also a member of a group called Warrior Moms, which is a group of moms all over India trying to reclaim the blue sky for their kids. I think that's a wonderful initiative, Bhavreen. Welcome to this conversation. There is Devaditya Sinha. He is a senior resident fellow at Vidhi Center for Legal Policies. He leads climate and ecosystems, the team on climates and ecosystems. And also he's co-authored the Vidhi report on cleaning Delhi air, the implementation and the action plan. And we have Ajay Suri. He's the senior journalist and environmental blogger. He's also a filmmaker on environment and wildlife, and also a recipient of the Ramnath Goenka Award. Bhavreen, you and I have had so many discussions every year, so I'm going to really come to you and ask you that, what has anything changed at all?
No, Priya, it hasn't, and it's probably worse. And because, what happens is that maybe, about 7 to 8 years ago, we were in denial. Now we are not in denial. Of course, we've accepted there is air pollution, but we are not, finding the right, route to solutions, which is absolutely, totally the opposite way we're going. Rather than working on the sources of pollution, we are just working on either all these post all these photo optic issues, because people also like to see, they like what they see basically. So it would be a smog tower or a smog gun or a thermal machine, those kind of things. And they are not the solutions. The solution is why we are getting there, and we have to curb the sources. COVID was a very clear indication of how we got blue skies and clean rivers. So this is all about all year through. Right now, what is happening is not measures. They are only reactions. There's an emergency reactions, and we love the graph because that is what even the media loves to talk about it. And these, 10 days, 15 days, we love to, say that this is not what is going to solve pollution. What is going to solve pollution is the all year through. If you're cutting trees, every 1 hour, a tree is being cut in the most polluted capital of the world. This is ridiculous. We still don't have waste management bylaws, 2016 bylaws in place. We don't have even one new bus added, into our public transport system. The construction dust, there's so many claims that were made by the government, the Delhi government, about monitors being put at the construction sites, all that, nothing. So these are all basically, they love campaigns. Everybody is loving campaigns. Hamara kaam hota tha, but now they're doing it, and they're doing a bad job. I can say that.
That's really putting it mildly, but you're right. And as Bhaveen said, COVID showed that, how blue our skies can be. That was really, something we've never seen before. So we are only to be blamed for this mess that we are in. What would you say, Devaditya, in your view, that is the biggest sinner, the most irritant in terms of air pollution? Is it the construction dust? Is it the
Yeah. So I will reiterate what Bhaveen said, that, we have to see the source of the pollution. Now, what we're doing is trying to show some optics, we are doing smog towers, we are sprinkling water. These are not a solution. So recently, some journalists shared on Twitter, the official affidavit which the government of India submitted to Supreme Court. And that they said that the contribution of stubble burning is just 4% of PM 2.5 and 4% of PM 10. Now, who's the major contributor? Major contributor industry, 30%. And transport, 28%. Dust, 17%. and residents 10%. So you can see the entire thing it comes on like stubble burning or residence burning, like using DG sets, but the actual polluter, this coal-based power plants, no one is talking about. So I will come to it later on, like in discussion. But this is all I will submit, that we have to target this major source of pollution. We cannot just put the burden on the like farmers, like this stubble burning has been happening. It's not new, but
don't go for the low-hanging, easy fruit, but go after really the ones who are the big shots, who are the guilty ones.
Yeah.
But that's a difficult task, Ajay, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Priya. Like you said, there's this unmistakable feeling of deja vu. Every year, we talk about it. We have these television shows and opinion pieces and whatnot. But my take on this is that we have become, of late, we have become more problem-centric than solution-centric. And, the thing which I'm finding really amazing is that for the last many years, the stubble burning, it had emerged as the biggest piece of villain. It had emerged as a big punching bag for everybody, And suddenly this year, Supreme Court is told that stubble burning, accounts for only 4%. So and the Delhi government, it has already fired its first salvo. It says, no, the center filed 2 affidavits, or maybe there were 2 contentions in 1 affidavit in which they said stubble accounts for only 4% of pollution. But it also says that between November 4 and November 14, it accounted for 34%. So one really doesn't know what's happening. And I believe that, that political sparring.
Ajay, I'm going to interrupt you. Can you just shift back a bit, because your head is getting cut off?
Sorry. So what I'm saying is that instead of finding solutions, all these political parties are, taking a jab at each other, that who is responsible, kiska galti tha, kya hua, kya nahi hua, and you are seeing this tamasha again. And I believe that you and I and maybe other participants, you will be talking with them next year also, because we don't really want to find a solution to it. And I believe just like charity begins at home, at one level, everybody who is living in NCR, they have to do their bit. We should not be depending 100% on the politicians to save the day for us. So whatever we can do, whether it's construction activities, whether it's vehicular population, I believe that, we can do a lot to, if at individual level we take some steps, they will go a long way. I mean, that's my take on it.
That's a good suggestion. Praveen, same question to you. What is the biggest irritant? They talked about the coal-based emission. What for you would be the biggest irritant?
Yes, of course, coal-based emissions are not being talked about because we are just back from COP after, doing a more phase up, then phase down or phase out, whatever. But and the thermal power plants. I mean, there's everything. And, I want to say something here, Priya, that, I just don't believe in this crazy debate that we're having over what is how much percentage and is what source of pollution. When in a city or in cities where we are actually choking and our children are actually, their lungs are getting damaged. Now, every 3rd child in Delhi has damaged lungs. These are Lung Care Foundation studies, recent studies. And we are debating that which poison is more and which is less. I mean, as a mother, am I interested to know which brand of poison I'm giving to my child and which I should not give? I mean, it has to be a no for every source of pollution. So we have to, rather the government has to act. Absolutely, every source of pollution has to be acted upon, equally and as important as it is. And
there is the debate of development versus environment,
as ridiculous because it doesn't work right now. I mean, the development model was years ago. The green revolution was years ago. That's why you have politicians and policymakers to bring changes according to what the times need. The time for now is that we need, it's about survival. What are we going to do about to the development or economy if the whole complete youth is totally, damaged and they are sick? What are we going to do to it? So this is the priority. The health has emerged, with the COVID as well. It's an eye opener. I mean, if this doesn't open our eyes, then what else is going to? And, as far as the onus on citizens goes, like Mr. Suri is saying, as much as I hate saying this because the children and everyone must learn this, that we have a responsibility. But unfortunately, this is a trap, because even if I can give up my car for the whole year, that, or my whole family, my whole extended family can also give up a car for the whole year, that thermal power plant, 1 month of that emission is not going to compensate. So it's really in their hands. If they again, there are policies, you tax me so much on my second car, you tax me on my parking, give reasonable tickets for public transport. These are the kind of things that we needed to do. Similarly, greening and planting, making, instead of concretization, we should have more green pathways and more green shrubs, and no tree cutting, no tree felling until there's an AQI of 60. Again, like I said, banning of crackers, it's just a charade, because it's happening everywhere. It's been bursting crackers. Why were we not able to implement it? So laws are in place, but we can't even get two segregated waste from a household. And even if we give them segregated, they get mixed by the authorities. They themselves are the biggest violators. So what I'm saying is, it's really a very difficult thing, unless we will come on a war footing and implement all these laws and in place, like a real strict public health emergency. It's not going to work. We'll be saying this, like Mr. Suri said, next year we'll all be here talking the same things again and again.
Bring in checks and balances, fines, make life, in that sense, more, punish the offenders. But we have to also go after the big ticket offenders, really. And you're an expert in coal-based emissions. So, can you tell us a bit as to the damage that they are doing?
We are the coal-based power plants, I will say, the single largest, you can say, the polluter in India. And not only in terms of PM 2.5, which they emit as a particular matter, but also this SOx and NOx, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide, they convert into particular matter. And their potential to travel beyond 300, 400 kilometers. Like this IIT Kanpur report in 2016, it says that, this coal-based power plants emissions, they travel across 400 kilometers. Like in Delhi, like there are at least, I think, 10 or 14 power plants in 300 kilometers. But the thing is that, we have this emission standard, which was like already very weak in 2015, the first time they prescribed these emission standards. Then the deadline was to meet it by 2 years for this new power plants to install this FGD and CR. So this is the technology to control the SOx and NOx emission. But the companies, Minister of Power, they refuse to do that. They say we cannot do it. Okay, they gave many reasons, but those reasons are, if you see the economic cost of everything, this is all not completely true what they have submitted. But given that, based on IIT Kanpur report, there was in 17 that they extended the deadline, and they said that these power plants within 100 kilometers of Delhi, they should install these FGDs by 2019. And then 2019, they couldn't install it. CPCB imposed a compensation of 18 lakh rupees per unit per month. But see, it is a systemic failure, because what happened was, though CPCB imposed the compensation per month, 18 lakhs per unit, they got stay from Supreme Court. After that, Ministry again amended the notification and said that they can meet those standards by 2024, something like that. And that they have reduced the 300 kilometers to just 10 kilometers of Delhi. So, this is ridiculous. You are denying the scientific facts. You are denying the health of people. You're supporting this power plant. And then I will just add one more angle to it. It's a very important angle, the political angle. Why cannot Delhi government strictly say that you have to shut down the power plant in Punjab and Haryana? Because see, this is my observation, that they also have to fight election in Punjab and Haryana. So they may not get much, effort. It's like, Punjab mein band kar do, because they understand. If you push too much pressure, then we may lose ground in their state. So it's all political. You have to understand, this is all political, and what we need is political will. We may do our part, but when our contribution is just 0.001% and 99% is big emitters. So until you tap them, we're not setting a good example.
Let's take this thought forward of the political will, Ajay. Do you also agree that the political will is really what is missing? And he very rightly said, the current government in Delhi wants to expand in the neighboring states. So it's not going to go heavy and do something that goes against the people of, the popular will of the people.
That's true, Priya. But, other side of the coin is, what I said earlier was about the situation as it exists now, how we are obsessed with, with problems and expounding on problems, debating on problems. But there is a solution. Everything is still not lost. You would be very aware, and I think the other participants too. I would like to take you back to 90s, when red line buses and blue line buses, if you remember the kind of pollution they were spreading. And then one fine day, I think there was some political will also and some pressure from the court also that CNG was put in place. And that major source of pollution was done away with virtually overnight. Yeah. So if there is a political will, if there is a judicial will, and these forces combined together, I don't see why a solution cannot be found to this recurring problem. And I think this can happen. Only thing is you need people who are honest in their intent. Right now, what I'm seeing as a layman, every day I open a newspaper or go to TV debates, I see the Delhi government, the center government, and whatnot. They're all in a slugfest with each other. So nobody really seems to be interested in finding a solution.
Today we're discussing a very burning issue, and an issue that concerns all of us really, the quality of air in not just in the NCR, but I think in major parts of India as well also. But this is not just a NCR limited problem that we're discussing, is it?
Not at all. In fact, that's a mistake we are doing. In fact, today also I saw a little like an infographic which one of the news channels released, and they said that Delhi is number one. It's not Delhi, it's Delhi NCR, which is very important because Gurugram is probably, worst state. There are about 18 cities in UP who are, also including Noida, who are in severe air. So that is one mistake that we tend to do. And that is why, in fact, one particular aspect that I agree with Delhi is that, for solving the air pollution, we need to have, all the experts have always said this, and we need an airshed approach. And alone, Delhi will never be able to, as a state, will not be able to solve until all the other states are going to cooperate. And for this, it's extremely important that the center comes in and takes in a role of, and even like yesterday, at one of the, I think on the channels only, that Reena Gupta also as a spokesperson at Aam Aadmi, she said that even why not the Prime Minister, he took over, the PM took over COVID, how he was, taking charge of the complete process. Now that is the kind of emergency. We have more people who have died of air pollution than COVID. And we should be considering this. Actually, we don't want to believe that this is a disaster. This is the worst disaster than any other we have ever been through. And probably because we can't see air, because when you see water, you see food, you see how dirty it is, you immediately react. But air, so even the citizens don't kind of, believe so seriously. And because we don't ask for it, the governments are not so serious. So this is a very important part that the complete states have to come together. The central government will need to have a committee that will they'll be above all of them and looking, of course, but all this is, still in words. The action remains. We still know the DPCC has, I think, 103 vacant spaces, We know that the forest department doesn't have enough people. How are we going to do work throughout the year if we don't even have vacancies? This is the most, one of the poverty states that we are talking about, where there's unemployment and still we can't bring in people. So is this a strategy? Is this why you want to cut trees? Is this why you don't want to take complaints? I mean, what is it? Because after all, these are things that have been said over and over and over and over again, after years, and we have not been able to implement them. So obviously there's no intent, that clearly shows there's no intent. In fact, this very week, they should employ every possible seat that is lying vacant so that people get to work and do the job.
Right now they are talking about cutting back.
Yeah, exactly. They're cutting back and that's another work from home. You're talking of a temporary solution of work from home. On the other side, you're building a central vista, for I know how many more employees will come in every day, come into the city, drive in. So the concept is so messed up, because that's the whole thing. That's the policies that need change. The strategy needs to change. The city has to. City doesn't become smart with the huge buildings and concrete structures and concretizing the lawns. That's not going to make it smart. Smart
That's not
will
the
be
answer.
with.
Okay, let me bring Devaditya in. You did that report. Vithi did the report. What happened after that? Did you, submit it to somebody? Did you get any feedback?
Yeah, so Priya, we did this report in 2017 or 18, something like that. This pollution was very much hyped for the first time, and we tried to give the solution. Like everyone's got IT, CSE, everyone said it's a solution. We tried to give an implementation action plan, like how we can implement those solutions by changing laws and all these things. So we submitted to all the governments, ministries, and Delhi government also. Some of the issues they have taken up, like this issue of construction, like we had some a smaller pilot project on this emission from construction dust. So after that, I think Delhi government decided to install this online monitoring thing. I don't know how it is implemented, but there are some decisions taken at the top level. But the issue is at the ground level, who is going to monitor it? As Bhavin said, there's no resource capacity to do that. We also suggested that to monitor this construction activities, you can empower the RWAs, to at least monitor. You have such a huge resource who are willing to help you. But you see, there is also the thing called political will. There is also thing called political economy. You have to also understand that everyone loves pollution because it runs the economy. So basically, there will be smoke towers. There will be investment on different kind of things. You will buy purifiers. So this kind of things when you're as a think tank we can suggest to think, but it's the government and the executive who have to implement those things. So of course implementation is nearly unsatisfactory.
What are the other, these are some of the things. For instance, does this odd even thing help?
Yeah.
It
so
helps.
On odd even, it was very clear our take that odd even you cannot implement is when you don't have enough public transport system, you don't have last mile connectivity, and then you give some exemptions. So you have seen the first odd even was relatively successful, but after that it was not that much successful. Especially when Delhi metro prices were so high, they were hiked twice, I think, a couple of years ago, and still to reach the metro station, how will you have to take something until you improvise on this, public transportation, you cannot enforce people forcing people to you have not do the things. So first you have to place a system in place, and then you can say people this is what you have to do.
Absolutely.
Have the alternatives in place before. It's a very difficult thing, Ajay. At the end of it, you have to balance the economy with the environment. You have to have the alternatives in place before you actually say, use the metro when metro is exorbitant. So it's not an easy task. Let's also, give them some leeway on that, or no? You think that enough leeway has been given?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, it's a question of looking up to the alternative. But at the same time, what Bhavin said about lack of intent. I mean, just imagine yesterday, the Commission on Air Quality Management, it held a meeting just because it got the rap on the knuckles by Supreme Court. That's something like, if you remember, in a school, when a teacher tells the student that you have to do your homework, and the student, sits all night just to finish the homework. And then, why the hell could not that student, do the work before? This is something exactly which has happened, and that commission which held the meeting, and today all the papers, all the media is full of how all the thermal powers, barring 5, will be shut off, work from home, construction activities to be affected, 50% work from home. See, all these decisions could have been taken earlier. We could have taken all these preventive measures. But another very important point which Bhavin referred to was when she tried to draw a parallel with how we fought COVID. That is an example. We said 100 million or God knows how many million jabs we did. So we can actually take that momentum to fight the pollution in NCR also, because it's as big a poison, as big a demon as COVID, So this is just the right time, the way we have tackled, or we have been tackling, coronavirus. Why can't we, do something like this to fight pollution in NCR? And so many alternatives exist, It can start with ourselves, taking some very small measures. And then the government also has to pull in. The judiciary also will pull in the way we did away with CNG buses. And I don't think this is a problem which needs to recur every year.
And as someone said, air pollution is a bigger killer than COVID, but yet we are not waking up to this problem which is staring at us in the face. Maybe because we can't really see it, though it's there, as it's not really visible. But the alarm bells have to be rung now. Otherwise, we'll have really no face to show our children. So, warrior moms, we're all with you, Bhaveen. I think that's a very good cause. And thank you, Devaditya and Ajay, and all of you for listening, for coming to the show and for watching the show. It's a grave situation. I really hope we don't have this show again next year, but I'm very worried that we will be soon meeting again also on the same topic. On that note, thank you.
Thank you, Priya.
Thank you.
Thank you, Devaditya. Thank you, Mr. Shri.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.